Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. And paradigm we share today concerns what are Christians worshiping? You see, we're supposed to worship Christ. And I think too often we worship politics. And to illustrate this, I want to talk about a sociologist by the name of Durkheim. Now, anyone who studies sociology and goes to graduate school has heard of Durkheim. He is one of the major foundational forces of early sociology, and he has a lot of theories out there. One of which concerns religion. Now, Durkheim has this theory of religion. It goes something like this. He got this theory by studying totems, cultures that worship totems. What he observed is that the totem that they worshipped often reflected the values of their society. This is a little bit, overgeneralization or anything like that. So I'm putting my own cultural understandings into this illustration. But let's say you're a society that values strength. So you create a totem of a lion. Lions are strong, and you worship that lion. Or you value wisdom, and you have this notion that owls are wise, because we wear glasses, of course. So you create a totem of an owl, and you worship that. You get what I'm saying? You figure out what your society values, and then you create an idol, and then you worship that idol. Now, Durkheim is arguing what's happening is you're worshiping your society. You're worshiping the things that your society values, you're deifying it. And Durkheim goes on to say that this actually serves a purpose. Because in doing so, what you're doing is you're reinforcing your society. You're reinforcing the social control your society has. When your society says this is right, you say, yeah, this is right. The society says this is right. And by the way, the deity I'm worshiping says it's right as well. Durkheim uses this as a critique of religion in a sorts, saying, we're not really worshiping a deity, because Durkheim didn't believe in deities, but we're worshiping society. One of the greatest examples of this, because you're going to say, well, we don't worship idols. We don't carve out idols that we worship. We worship the God. But here's a great example. I love my church. One of the reasons why I love my church is 4th of July is like any other Sunday. But I've been to churches where it's not, and you know what I'm talking about. You go to churches and there's American flags all over the place. You go to churches and instead of gospels, you sing God, God bless America, patriotic type hymns and that sort of stuff. When I teach sociology religion class, I show a video of First Baptist Dallas, and it is like, makes you want to stand up and salute. In a sense, these are Christian congregations that are worshiping America. What they're saying is, America's good, and America has these values, and God has these values. The sort of patriotism, the sort of democracy, the sort of capitalism. We create God in our own image. People have God as sort of like this capitalist, and people work hard, automatically get awarded. This is nature. So there are ways in which we shape our image of God in ways that fit with what we see our culture. What does this have to do with politics? Well, let me tell you, before I do, if you enjoy this sort of conversation, please like this video. If you enjoy these conversations in general, consider liking the channel. Leave a comment. Agree, disagree, leave a comment. Let's talk about it. What does it mean about politics? I'm in Texas, and right now, as of today, there's a Senate race. And as of today, I don't know who the Republican candidate is going to be, but I know the Democrat candidate is a man by the name of Tarico. I've done a video on him. One of the interesting things about Tarico is that he's leading in with his Christianity, which is something most Democrats do not do. Those who are Christians, they'll admit it, but they downplay it greatly. He's not. In fact, when you look at how he presents himself, he openly takes questions about his faith. Now, this turns into policies. his policies concerning non-binary and abortion and economic justice comes back down to how he interprets the Bible. A lot of conservative Christian people have criticized that interpretation. As well, they're right. Engage in that theological discussion. But what he's doing is not that much different from what conservative Christians have been doing for a long time, right? Saying God is in this policy, and therefore this is the policy you must have. Now, a lot of them say, well, isn't it clear on something like abortion or looking at, issues of sexuality? And, there's maybe a stronger argument. I've also seen it now move into issues on immigration, where I think it's, if anything, the argument is the other way. We should be more welcoming of our immigrant neighbors. Tax cuts, I've heard it with the death penalty. Conservative Christians for a long time have done this. Progressive Christians are now catching up. And I don't say this saying that I agree with what the progressive Christians are doing when they do it. I'm saying that they're not doing anything worse than what conservative Christians are doing. They're taking their own political values, they're putting to a God, they worship that God, and then they're worshiping themselves. On both sides, this has been occurring. So, we again have to ask the question, are we worshiping God or are we worshiping us? I want to be in the position of constantly worshiping God. Now, let me put this forward to you. Does God ever challenge the political position of your party? Because your political party's position is socially constructed. It's not this logical outcome of this sort of philosophy. You may think that it is, but it's not. You give me a principle, I'll show you how the left violates it and then how the right violates it. Or how the left affirms it and how the right affirms it. Just an example, small government. The left, small government on your sexuality issues. The right, small government on your pocketbook. Okay, so let's just be honest about that. Your political position is socially constructed. Humans created it, not God. So if God never disagrees with your political party, I kind of think you're worshiping your political party more than you're worshiping God. Just something to consider. Think about, do I prioritize my political priorities over my worship of the ultimate God? Do I ever disagree with my political parties for the sake of God? Because I think you kind of should. Even if you think that this political party is the best one, and is the right one, and is the one you think God most likes, if you never disagree, I think there's a problem there. Christians must be a prophetic voice. By that, I mean we must speak out against culture when culture goes wrong. That doesn't mean we always speak out. Doesn't mean the culture is always wrong. But we have to be strong enough in our walk that we're willing to speak out when our party goes wrong, when our nation goes wrong, and hopefully someone speaks to us when we go wrong. Something to think about. I hope you consider this and think introspectively about your place in the body of politics and in the body of Christ. Well, thanks for your time. Please come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.